Hello and welcome to Movies on the Side. This is Stephen Robles.
And this is Nate Baranowski.
And this is your special 2024 Holiday Edition Mott's. And we have a very special guest with us, my co-host for Primary Technology, previous guest of the podcast. He was on our Elf episode several years ago, Jason Aten. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, it's good to talk about Christmas movies, my favorite subject.
Jason had nothing prepared. That's why
it.
that was super awkward. But we're doing something exciting today because we're going to do our top 5 Christmas movies. Last time you were here, we reviewed Elf, which I imagine is going to be in your top 5, Jason. But I'm very conflicted. I might be changing my 3, 4, 5 literally as we go. I think we should do round robin. My first question to all of you is: do you have any? There's no prepare. I did not prepare anyone for this, but I will answer. Do you have any honorable mentions and or worst Christmas movie? A Christmas movie that either other people like that you just cannot stand, or one that highly overrated. And I think I'm going to list my worst first, and then I'll give honorable mentions if you guys have any other worst. But my opinion on a highly overrated Christmas movie.
I know where this is going.
The Polar Express.
Absolutely.
I find The Polar Express to be a ridiculous movie that is neither heartwarming nor very good, with animation that is haunting and nightmarish, and I don't care to ever see it again.
Yeah. This may be the only thing Steven and I actually agree on. I think I posted one of my most popular threads posts ever was that Polar Express is D tier at best.
D tier at best. I love Tom Hanks pretty much in everything. Not that movie. I don't like that
Even
movie.
though he's in it 3 times. It's still not good.
Nate, do you have an opinion?
I have not seen it since it first came out.
Exactly.
I have seen little clips. I hear that it's sort of an uncanny valley nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the uncanniest of valleyistas.
I do enjoy the book, though.
If you change the music in the Polar Express, it's literally a horror movie.
It is really bad. There is actually, it's just terrifying. There is like the main theme, which I have played in like orchestras and stuff. Fine, like it's fine for a theme, but not a good movie.
I have one though. I have another worst one. Since I
please.
would have picked that one, but since you picked it, mine. I don't think that's controversial. I think that like anyone who likes it might have some nostalgic remembrance of it,
right?
But I don't think so. This one's definitely controversial, but I stand behind it. A Christmas Story.
Correct.
Not a good movie.
Yeah,
Not a
that
good
was gonna be
movie.
yours.
I agree.
And the hard thing is, it's probably my wife's favorite movie. We are like a
The
house
one who does all
divided
the
on
work.
Christmas.
We just recorded a bonus episode talking about how your
I
wife
know.
does all the Christmas work.
And I will watch it. But I think the difference is I never saw that movie as a kid. And so it doesn't
Same.
have any, there's no memory value
Zero
to that
nostalgia.
at all. And so I watch it and I'm like, there's some funny lines, like it's a major award, like great. Like I understand a lot more references now. You know, you'll shoot your eye out, whatever.
Sure.
Just not a good movie.
I think sometimes I did see it as a kid. I feel like I remember seeing it at a kid's Christmas party that I went to at some point in time. I didn't really enjoy it then, and I think there's a problem when movies get overly quoted that eventually it just erodes away the enjoyment of it till I just hear someone say, "You'll shoot your eye out." I'm like, okay, fine.
Please shoot
Fine.
my eye out. Please.
Yeah.
Don't make me watch this movie. And I have not watched this movie since I was probably about 15.
Do you know one piece of fun trivia about what TV series was inspired by
Malcolm
A
in the
Christmas
Middle.
Story? No. Good try. By A Christmas Story.
By A Christmas Story.
By the movie. There's a TV series that premiered possibly before either of you were born. I don't know. I don't know how old you guys
By
are.
the,
It's
no,
Saved by the Bell.
not
The
quite.
Fresh
close.
Prince of Bel-Air.
Totally. No.
What is it?
The Wonder Years.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Didn't particularly love that show, so
No.
makes sense.
But I know.
I will
Totally
watch
useless
it.
trivia. I just try to show up with. I didn't come up prepared for anything, but
Look
I
at
do.
that.
No, that's good.
Listen,
That's good.
I am the trivia. Like I can.
No,
yes.
that's great.
Great.
Okay, so that's our worst movies. I also agree on A Christmas Story. I don't care to ever see that again.
Yeah.
Are there any honorable mentions that might not have made your top 5, but you'd like to mention? I have 2 that I'm going to mention. Jingle All the Way
Arnold.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I love the movie. And we watched it last year for the first time. doesn't hold up as well. Like, it's not a great movie, but I still enjoy it, and I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And then also, this might be a little divisive, but How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jim Carrey version. Nate's making a face. Now listen, I understand you just talked about you don't like hearing things quoted very much, and I know it's a weird movie, but I mean, the audacity. The audacity. Go. It's quotable. And there's like this wave of nostalgia for Jim Carrey's Grinch. I don't know if you guys have seen clips on like social media, but since the Sonic 3 junkets have been going, people are like going up to Jim Carrey like, we want a Grinch too. We want a Grinch too. And like Jim Carrey, like, I don't know, he's not against it. So I actually have a place for that in my heart.
Unfortunately, I think that movie is gross in a Tim Burton-esque sort of way, where I find it just visually unappealing. And I would say he does a great performance, but I find it has a little bit of nightmare fuel kind of mixed into it that I don't particularly love for my Christmas movies.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Because, I want to say this about all Christmas movies here.
Yes.
As a writer for Inc. once said in 2020, I suspect we're all going to be looking for some hope and optimism. I think we could all use a little joy. He said that in the midst of COVID-19, our very own Jason Aten. And I agree with him. For Christmas movies, I believe that we are looking for hope and optimism.
Did you have that pulled up?
Yeah.
Were you saving that quote?
I have a quote for later, too, as well.
Save it. Yeah, just throw it out there when we least expect it, because that was amazing. That was, yeah. Okay, so those are my honorable mentions.
Did ChatGPT tell you that? Because I don't even remember writing that. But
no, I had to Google you a lot to find. First, I wanted to see if you had any Christmas movie opinions written down in the internet.
So you could slam it here on the...
No, so that I could pull it back. I found your threads, D-tier Express. But you don't actually have a
private investigator, Nate.
I mean, it's not hard.
Yeah, I know. But
it's not hard to find his quotes and articles, but not
a
a whole lot of
3,000
Christmas movie
of
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I did write about Apple's holiday film. Does that count?
Oh,
you did.
Well,
you did. I actually read that whole article.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well,
okay, Jason, do you have any Jason, any honorable mentions outside of your top 5?
Iron Man 3, definitely an honorable mention. I mean, listen, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so is Iron Man 3.
Now,
Iron Man 3.
I mean, he's running through...
We did an entire episode. I literally time-stamped in Die Hard every time a Christmas song is played, Merry Christmas is said, Christmas decor is seen on screen. I think that's a Christmas movie. I don't know if Iron Man 3 will pass the, what is the Bechdel test, but for Christmas movies? The Grinch test? The
Clausel test.
The Clausel test? I don't.
There is a movie about a Christmas clause, but I mean, he's like, isn't he like in a little town that's all dressed up for Christmas, and then he gives what's her face?
He has a panic attack,
and then he gives what's her face a giant bunny or whatever, right, for Christmas. Isn't that true?
Oh, yeah, right before his house blows up.
No one remembers Iron Man 3, and that's the tricky thing about this movie is that he was in a barn at some point in time.
He even dances to Jingle Bells. The song is in the. Okay, fine. This is just an Iron Man. I'm not even advocating it as my number one.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll have to rewatch it. I don't remember any of this.
That's my tangentially Christmas related honorable mention. I think my honorable mention was going to be the Illumination version of the Grinch, because I actually think that's a good one.
I was going to mention that too. That I actually do enjoy that. Good music too, for real.
Yeah.
Nate?
I mean, that one made my list, so I'm
not
even
going
to honorable mention
No spoil it. Any honorable mention?
I'm going to say one more, because I had Jingle All the Way on there. I'm going to say White Christmas, the Bing Crosby vehicle. It's a little slow, and if you're going to watch one thing that's kind of black and white, I guess that one was colorized,
it's colorized
I think.
now. You can watch it,
I mean, that one's got a nice little payoff of like earnestness.
Yeah. I was going to put that in my honorable mentions too, so I'm glad you mentioned it. So very good. All right. Top 5 now. What order should we
do them in reverse order? 5 to 1?
5 to 1. 5
yes.
To 1. Yes. So our number one.
It seems pretty anticlimactic to be like, and now our 5th favorite.
No. Always reverse chronological.
All right.
Who should go? You want to do the same order? Just keep going around?
Sure.
Switch order?
Let's do it.
Okay.
What was that order? Let's do that again.
Well, it's been me,
That's
Jason,
what I
and
was
Nate.
waiting
Me,
for,
Jason,
too.
and Nate. That's what
Okay.
we've been doing.
Yeah, great.
He's like
honorable
he's
mention?
motioning as if like what are you talking like the way we're arranged on
The
the,
way
screen?
we're
'Cause
arranged on
you know you
screen.
can change that at any
Only
time.
I
right?
can see. I know. No one knows what's happening. Yeah, let's keep doing that. Okay, my number 5, It's a Wonderful Life. It's obviously a classic. I think it still holds up. I mean, there's some parts that don't hold up. But as a movie as a whole, watching it the first time with the kids, I think it's still nice. The ending is still like heartwarming, gives you, lots of morality and morals to walk around with. So, I don't know. It's a Wonderful Life is my number 5. You guys, you were making faces, Nate, while I was saying that. Why are you making faces?
No, it is on my list as well. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil where it is on my list.
Okay,
but
okay.
I feel like, yes, I think it should be on most people's top 5 list.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jason, your number 5?
Harold and Kumar Christmas. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. It is actually a really entertaining movie.
A Castle for Christmas.
I actually had it. It's a Wonderful Life as my number 5.
Oh,
I kind of wanted to rethink that, but it's good. I'm satisfied with that.
I'm good. I understand. Like it has so many years of like pent up, like nostalgia and people talking about it. But I think 5 it's a good place, at least in our list.
Yeah, I mean, there are other movies like I wish I could make room for, but I feel like if you have a top 5 list that doesn't have that on there, like. What even are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. All right, Nate, you're number 5.
Number 5, I have the Illumination Grinch movie.
Oh, there you go.
It is my favorite Grinch adaptation.
Sure.
And I will say this as a theme to most of my selection. I believe Christmas movies, as Jason said in a previous article, need to bring hope and optimism. I think that if you go too hard into Santa lore, you lose me a little bit because I think it's kind of like the Polar Express thing. Like, okay, there's some great lessons to be had about magic and wonder, but it's kind of, it's the same problem with Miracle on 34th Street. If the only point is proving that Santa is real and Santa is your vehicle for magic and hope and optimism, it's not as strong as like It's a Wonderful Life or anything in the Christmas Carol or the Grinch, which is like kind of the morals without using Santa as the exact representation of those morals. And so you'll find this theme throughout most of my movies. But the Grinch, number 5.
Well, I'm going to my number 4 pick is probably going to go right up against what you just said.
Great.
Because my number 4 pick is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. I think it was one of the Christmas movies like when I was a kid. It was just, we watched it every year. I don't know if it was on TV. I know we had the VHS. But it was funny. I mean, we were also like watching Home Improvement, probably at the same time. So it was like just a Tim Allen vehicle. But the stepdad's kind of annoying. Like some parts maybe don't hold up, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know. Do you find that that's one of them that fills into your categories, Nate, as like too Santa-y?
Yeah, because it's not necessarily about Santa. It is a Christmas Carol-esque selfish guy who learns to like love and care about his kid. And care about others, like broadening his joy.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I would say it's disguised as a thing about Santa, but it's really about a Scrooge-like fellow who becomes better.
Thank you. Well, that's my number 4 pick.
Also, you have to kill Santa to become Santa. People don't talk about that as enough for that movie.
But also, like, if you're going to talk about Santa lore, like, that's hilarious. I mean, it's pretty dark, but it's kind of hilarious. I mean, Santa also, he just like wisps away. It's not like they had a corpse on their front yard.
Now, there have been 2 other The Santa Claus movies, correct? Did anyone finally kill Tim Allen in those?
Yes.
Scott Calvin? Does he?
Wait, spoilers. No. Wait a minute, because there's 2 movies and then there's a TV series, isn't there?
Yeah, the TV series doesn't count.
Oh, I see.
Oh, non-canonical. Jason, does someone become Santa who's not Scott Calvin?
Yes, in Santa Claus 3, Jack Frost becomes Santa for a period
Martin
of
Short?
time. Is that who played him? Yeah.
Yeah, that's who played
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
He becomes Santa?
So yeah, there's this whole thing where if you take Santa's snow globe and he's holding it and he says, "I wish I was never Santa," it's basically like saying, "I want to go outside," right, from the silo, and you and you go back to the moment where you became Santa,
I see.
and then again Jack Frost is like holding on to him, so they both end up there, and he puts on the coat instead, and he becomes Santa, and he turns it into like the North Pole into like an amusement park theme park thing, and so then
He becomes like bad Santa.
well, there's a bad Santa in Santa Claus 2. Listen.
Oh, that's one.
I
Okay.
guess I have to
See, this
reorder
one I've not seen either.
I gotta
Okay.
reorder my list now. Because
Hold on a second.
I had some of these movies on. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah,
so
I-
He
I've
did like
not
Back
seen-
to the Future's Santa Claus.
so my
Biff.
kids don't like Santa Claus 2. They like Santa Claus 3.
Huh.
Santa Claus 2 is all about like he has to find a wife or else he can't be Santa anymore.
Right, I remember that. Yeah,
Not
I don't know if
problematic
I've-
at all. Yeah.
Nope.
yeah. I think I've seen it like half of the time. I don't
Actually,
know if I've seen the whole thing.
the whole trilogy. Listen, I think actually we were supposed to review the trilogy. That was like the deal. That like after we did Elf, maybe you guys were just so mad at me about the review of Elf that you were like, "No, we're
Did
not
we
talking
talk about doing
this
the Santa Claus
time."
trilogy?
We did talk about like next year we should come back and do the Santa Claus, but then
yeah.
it's fine. It's
We're
good.
terrible people, Jason. We're very
Maybe
sorry.
maybe
You're
next
not.
year because Santa Claus 2 and 3
Listen,
over my
don't-
head.
This is
Don't
my
give me
idea.
too much hope and optimism here, Nate. I'm just.
You got
I'll
it.
have to-
I had to
I'm-
go back and figure out. I'm like, what the? And it's like it's got to be a Ted Lasso article, but I think it was probably the article with Jason Bateman's like acceptance speech for like an Emmy or something like that, where he.
What are you
was
talking about?
The quote that Nate was giving. me.
Oh, it was basically about HBO Max killing off the movie theater industry when they first came on. Right, I think maybe right during COVID times.
My goodness, how many times have I even done this? I gotta find some
This
new
is like-
lines.
Do you remember did you ever hear the time when Jason got hammered for using the same term in like 5 different article titles? He said emotional
I
intelligence.
thought he doesn't. Wait, I thought he doesn't do the. I thought you don't do the titles to your own articles.
Sometimes. I mean,
These
but I'm happy
6
to deny it.
These 6 words changed everything in the.
You'll never believe what this CEO said. Right,
I've
right.
never written a headline that started that.
No, I know,
to be
I
clear.
know, I know. I know.
Click
Okay.
on this
Anyway,
article.
Movie. Okay, my number 4
Yes.
was going to be the Santa Claus, but it's not now because both you said it, and then I was going to make it Santa
You could
Claus
say
3.
you could say
Nope, I picked a different one. I want the star. I really like that movie.
Oh, that is a yes.
I really
I've
like
never
that
seen
movie.
it.
It's super good. Well,
With
your
your
kids will
kids.
love it. Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Great.
No, that's
Yep.
a good. That's a good one. Okay. All right, Nate. What's your number 4?
Number 4 is an off the beaten path one. The Family Stone. Have you guys
Sorry,
ever
what?
seen this movie? The Family Stone. It has one of the Wilson brothers. I believe it's Jake. It has Rachel McAdams. It has Diane Keaton.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker. The gang's all there. It is, for whatever reason, delightful to me. They're all coming back. There's sadness. There's redemption. There's drama. There's family drama. It's all there. It's great. I
There's-
highly recommend.
Rachel McAdams. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. I had never even seen this movie. I've
Isn't
never heard of it.
that the
That's
one with
number
the guy
4.
from that plays the lawyer? What's his name? Oh, Dermot Mulroney.
Yes.
Mulroney?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
He's in it as well.
Huh, okay.
It's a great cast. Number
Really?
4, The Family Stone.
It's a good
All right.
pick. I'd never. Oh, okay. Well, my number 3, Elf. I'm gonna put Elf at number 3. I struggled to do I want to put this on my list or not because
But
I
then you
didn't
invited me to come on the show, and you figured it'd be like the worst insult if you didn't put it on your list.
Well,
It's
here's
not on
the
my
thing.
list as a
I-
direct insult to Jason.
I'm not
I
surprised.
did not see Elf during the hype. So, like, I had to live through many years of people saying, bye, buddy, I hope you find your dad. And I have no idea what that was from, never having seen it. You sit on a throne of lies. You smell like beef and cheese. People would say these things around Christmas time, and I would not know, like, why they were saying them. So it took me many years to, like, get past that trauma of hearing these lines out of context, not knowing what was happening, to when I finally saw it as, I saw it, I think, with my kids for the first time. Like, that was the first time I saw it. And I was like, okay, I do like this movie. And I struggle every year. I'm like, oh, Elf. It's like such a big deal. But my daughter wanted to watch it the other day, played it through again, and I was like, yeah, that is pretty good. Like, I do enjoy it. And I still get emotional at the end when everybody's singing and Santa Claus's sleigh is, like, bumping up and down through the park and barely taking off. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is good. So Elf is my number 3.
Right. To me, Elf is like going for a jog. I never wanted to do it. And halfway through, I think, like, I don't know, is this a good idea? But right towards the end, you think, I'm glad I did this. And then afterwards, you're like, it was a good movie.
It was pretty good.
But I don't want to do it again. I'm not going to watch Elf this year because my kids aren't old enough for it, and I'll just save it up for when I can introduce them to it.
Jason's sitting there like, Elf's my top pick. I can't believe this.
I have thoughts.
All right, Jason, you're up.
All
All right, Jason, what's your 3?
What's my number 3? I'm looking at a list that ChatGPT made of Christmas movies.
Oh,
and I'm
just
pretty sure
just have
some
AI do it for you.
Pretty sure some of these are not real movies, but that's okay.
Hallucinating movies for you.
My number 3 is going to be Charlie Brown Christmas. It's not like a movie, but that is to me probably what like a Christmas Story is to my wife, only much less annoying.
Yeah.
That's
piano
fair.
part, super hard to play. Super hard to play. 2 different rhythms, but great theme.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Nate, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the Santa Claus.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
So it is nostalgia for me. It is like the right amount of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it for a bit, but I'm excited to share it with my kids. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, my number 2, newer movie pick. This is a recent film. I really enjoy Spirited, which is the Apple TV Plus original musical
Scrooge. Yeah.
with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I really like it. We've now seen it 2 years. We watched it last year. We already rewatched it this year. I really enjoy it. I like the music. Ben Pasek and Justin Paul, Greatest Showman music people. Will Ferrell's hilarious. Ryan Reynolds. It's still Christmassy. I really enjoy it. So Spirited is my number 2.
Great.
I like that movie. The problem is, so I watched it with Beth, and Beth does not like movies where people swear. So
Well, you could VidAngel it.
we're not paying for a service to take out half of the movie. Like, come on, that's not.
It's
a movie.
not half. It's just
you can't
really.
VidAngel that movie. That's like
does take-
VidAngeling Step Brothers. Come on.
It takes out key moments of the music for Spirited, which was how we watched it the very first time, and I was like, okay, this is not viewable.
It's time.
Anyway.
Okay, my number 2 movie. Is that what we're on? 2?
Yes.
Number two.
Okay, my number 2 movie is Home Alone 2. The one where they're in New York City.
Yes.
I like that one a lot.
The better of the 2 Home Alones, right? Can we agree on
Well, there's
this?
4 Home Alones, but it is the better.
No,
of
3
them.
and 4 do not count.
Well, I would agree with that sentiment.
That's
but,
correct.
There are 2. Yeah, exactly. McAllister
Macaulay
family ones
Culkin
or-
vehicles.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I do think it is the better of the 2, actually. Even though my kids don't like to watch Home Alone with me anymore because I've reached the point. Well, I love the movies, but purely because they're entertaining and they just remind me of they're just Christmas. But the number of times in the movie when I'm like, how dumb are these people? Like, how is it even possible that this, all of the plot lines in that movie are just completely absurd and ridiculous when you think about it. And the fact that they take off on a DC-10 and they land on a 757.
Tell me about it.
How is this even possible?
Yeah, but it bothers me every time.
Jason's
It does
insufferable
actually
at these Christmas gatherings.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
That's
So
not-
next
that's
time
right.
he's going to talk to you about the plane again.
How does he aim with those bricks so good every time? It's not possible.
Are the wet slash sticky bandits, if they got a hold of Kevin, were they going to kill him?
yes, definitely they were gonna. But more importantly, what was
he
Kevin
gonna kill
McAllister-
them?
What was he doing wandering around the docks at the beginning of Home Alone 2? Steven, you used to live in New York. Have you ever been to the docks? I've been to New York 25 times at least. I've never been to the docks. And
I don't think I've
yet
ever
he
been
shows
there.
up there.
I've never
I
been
think
there where
he's
there's
getting
raw
a shipment
fish
of
and stuff.
booby traps. I think at that point in time, he's just getting like, hey, you're looking for something super sticky
definitely.
Yeah.
and a blowtorch.
Heavy, sharp
It's
things.
still my number 2.
No, that's good. Home Alone 2, number 2. Okay, Nate, you're number 2.
I just want to say, I love that Home Alone. Like, the setting up the traps as a kid was like watching a Rube Goldberg machine. It was just like, oh,
So
man,
good.
if I could have a plan. And even in the second movie, he is in his, I believe his uncle and aunt's, like, really nice New York apartment that's being remodeled. And he's like, yep,
Yes.
no problem. I'm going to make this my new death trap
Yes.
place. All right, my number 2 is also Spirited.
Oh, wow.
Hey!
I had a hard time putting together this list because what I learned is that I don't particularly love Christmas movies as a genre. And so when Spirited came about and we watched it recently, I thought, this is a movie that I could add to my rotation.
Yes.
Not
100%.
to share with my kids yet.
Yes.
Wait
not
a little
yet.
bit longer.
Yeah.
It's the right amount of Will Ferrell. Not Elf is too much, and I guess ones without him are also fine. But a little bit of Will Ferrell.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds is like a good seasoning to mix together. I think going back to Christmas Carol, it might be my favorite construct. And as I looked, I was trying to put a Christmas Carol movie into this list somewhere, but like, am I going to go Muppets? Am I going to go to Mickey's Christmas Carol is what I grew up with. Like there's a 1934 version that I also watched growing up. But I love the concept. I think people do too because there have been 25 movies made of this, of Charles Dickens' story. It's just beautiful. I mean, I guess It's a Wonderful Life too. It's the story of someone realizing there is beauty in life and that the generosity and joy spread to others is like a huge part of it. And as an earnest thing, as Jason said back in 2020, your job is to think about how you can best connect with your customers and find ways to delight them.
Oh, my word.
Now more than ever. Christmas movies need to connect through delighting me. And if they do not delight me in some form or fashion, I think, well, why am I watching a Christmas movie? The earnestness of Spirited, even though it's jokey, makes me feel like it's sort of in that Ted Lasso form of like, you aren't ashamed to have like a real genuine, like, we're going to be cheesy here, but we're going to mean it. And that's what I love in Christmas movies.
What I love about, so the Christmas Carol story is great, but what a Christmas Carol, like the originals and It's a Wonderful Life, there's often the moment where someone goes from bad to good, but it is like the idea of, so are they just that way now permanently? And I like how Spirited is one of the few movies, and I think Ryan Reynolds literally says it to Will Ferrell at one point, maybe it's not about just being redeemed and then you're good. Maybe it's about waking up every day and choosing not to be a jerk and actually choosing to be kind to others. And that's actually more real life than I think with some of the other movies. While they feel good and do have a similar message, they sometimes make it seem like, oh, okay, if you have this one epiphany, you're now good.
You're good.
And I think Spirited, does a better job of like, it's telling the real life application to that. So
that will probably be, other than Frosty the Snowman, and I'm planning to show my kid the live action Rudolph. Not live action. Stop motion Rudolph.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Live action's coming soon to Netflix, I think.
It's like,
other than that, I think Spirited will be the one movie that I watch with Jill, just for fun.
Yeah. That's good. All right, our number one picks, gentlemen. I would struggle not to put both of them on the list, but I didn't want to do that. And so I'm going to say my number one is the first Home Alone. And while I will agree, I think, with both of you that Home Alone 2 might be better, might be more fun, I think the first Home Alone has the originality points. And I do think, while Kevin and the Bird Lady that's good, I really like the
Shovel Man.
That's my band name, actually, Kevin and the Bird Lady.
Kevin and the Bird Lady.
Love their album. Their second one got a little long, but
Right. The Kevin and the Shovel Guy, their scene in the church is wonderful. I love that. The music of Carol of the Bells when Kevin's like running out of the church and running back home, it's like, I don't know, that feels so Christmas. Like that movie to me is like Christmas. Like the first Home Alone, it's like canonical Christmas movie for me. We just watched it like 2 nights ago. We'll probably still watch Home Alone 2 because that is, again, like the traps are a little more funny and fun. But the original Home Alone, I think for me, is my numero uno. What do you think?
Which of these movies has the tar on the steps with step number 5 being
Original.
a giant nail?
That's the first one. That's the
That
first one.
is gruesome. That's body horror.
Oh yeah. I mean, but not more than in Home Alone 2 with the bricks in his face, or the nail gun through. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
See?
Nail gun was pretty bad too.
Also, in the Home
Burning
Alone 2,
iron to the face also was not ideal.
yeah, but also in the second movie, Harry literally has his hair or his head on fire, his
And he
beanie on
sticks
fire.
it in a toilet of gasoline.
Toilet. He would have been dead.
Yeah.
That was a clear moment. Like, okay, this is. But
Yep.
anyway, original Home Alone is my number one. What about you, Jason?
Love it. So my number one is going to be Elf, obviously. You know, we watched Elf recently. Listen, the funny thing about people saying that it's too much Will Ferrell is like there really wasn't, like Will Ferrell wasn't Will Ferrell yet when he did
Right.
this movie, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
but what I love about we rewatched it like not that long ago because it's one of the first Christmas movies that we watched together because we universally love it. But just the idea that James Caan is not acting in that movie, that he is literally that annoyed with Will Ferrell the entire time, makes me so
Yes.
happy. Like, he just is like super annoyed that he's doing a movie with this clown and that he just can't stand all of his antics. And it's all pure like actual reaction. That makes me so happy. So, but I just, and I didn't watch it as a kid either, or I guess it probably came out when I was in college. I didn't probably see it until, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago or whatever. But I think it's just a lot of fun. Our kids like it. But I think like watching a movie that was made, whatever, 20 some years ago, and seeing people like seeing Jon Favreau in this, it's like,
Yeah.
and just pointing at him, and my kids are like, wait, that's the Mandalorian guy, or that's Happy Hogan. Like, come on. It's just all of these things that just, I don't know. We like it.
Yeah.
None of that has anything to do with Christmas, but
No, but it's nostalgia, it's family. Yeah.
also, Nate, I think you can agree. Even though I know that Elf is not one of your favorite movies, it does have a top 5, like an S tier scene.
Zoe
of all
Deschanel
movies.
singing.
In the shower. That's not the part that's good. It's that when she tells him to get out and he closes his. Stephen can edit that part out.
No, I think S tier. Go on.
But she tells him to get out and he covers his eyes and he just runs straight into the lockers. And
Yes.
I don't care how often you know that that's exactly what's going to happen. Will Ferrell pulls that off so well, and it is just one of the funniest scenes
Good
in any
gag.
movie.
Indeed.
Every
That's
time.
good.
Every time
Absolutely.
it's hilarious.
I always went. So it is Zoe Deschanel, right?
Yes.
As
In
opposed
Elf.
to Anne Hathaway. What do you mean? Are you asking how to say her name, or if that's the
No, you're
actress?
saying you didn't recognize her with blonde hair.
Wait, you didn't know that was
No,
the
I knew
property
it was-
guy's property brother's girlfriend?
Wait, she's dating a property brother?
Yeah, whatever one isn't married is her. They've been dating for a long time. Probably Jonathan, maybe.
Oh, you know what? It didn't come across my Apple News.
It's
I haven't written.
You haven't
about
read my article.
okay. Go ahead. Yeah. What's your number one, Nate?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Wow, number one.
it. Bold pick.
Here's something I'd like to say. I struggle because there are a few scenes.
Yeah, when she's in that bush, that's not it's not
That's
great.
not great. It's not
Not great.
great.
Nope.
If I could have them edit that, because it's not an important part to the
Not at all.
story. I feel like I'd trim out 5 minutes. But it is maybe one of the first movies in my life that made me cry as a kid. And I don't mean like Homeward Bound, Shadow is in the pit, I think he's going to
it's-
die crying.
It's a tough scene.
I mean crying in a like the intensity of the emotions and happiness and the overwhelmed, like every time when I watch this movie and that old uncle dude loses the money that he has to pay to Mr. Potter, I think to myself, maybe this time he won't lose it. Maybe
Yeah,
this
right,
time,
right.
like, they won't go through this terrible, terrible event. And when he finally comes back after his journey with Clarence, who, okay, we'll take or leave in some of that stuff. But when he was like, "My mouth's bleeding, Bert. My mouth's bleeding. Merry Christmas, you old building alone, you beautiful." And like
that's the best impression I think you've done on this podcast ever. That's pretty
His
good.
joy to be alive and to be back in his life that a little bit ago he wanted to escape from.
Yeah.
Is like, to me, that's Christmas magic. Is someone realizing that you really had a beautiful life this whole time. And like, that is awesome. And if I could just drop people into that part of the movie, there's a lot of cruft. Escape all of that and start watching from a guy who feels like he's lost everything to going through this Christmas Carol-esque view of his life, or life without him, coming back in. Nothing in his life is different except the fact that now he appreciates it and sees the beauty in it, and his daughter Zuzu giving him petals. It does something to me. It did it to me when I was a kid, and it still pulls heartstrings now. So that's why it gets to be number one.
Wow. That's deep. Okay. All right, well, very good. Jason, any clothing?
I mean, that was intense. I don't know. I feel like I have to reorder my entire list now and come up
It
with
wasn't
a
even
much,
on your, was it even on your list?
coming up with a much better. I think I made it my honorable mention.
Jason, don't feel bad. The shower scene with Zooey Deschanel was great in Elf.
Listen, the shower scene in Elf is less risque than the bushes scene.
That is
in
correct.
Elf.
I
That
have no room to talk.
I just want to be clear.
That was no room to talk.
Was It's a Wonderful Life on your list at all, Jason?
I think it was one of my
Number
honorable
5.
mentions.
Yeah, no, I think it was number 5.
No, was it my number 5? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Nope,
Oh,
you're right.
yeah. That's right.
Because there was a
That's
point in time, Stephen, where basically you had copied my list because everything I said you just kept
Really?
saying. Or
He had to
you
keep
said
changing
first.
it because you were ahead of him.
That's right. Oh, wait, did you do Spirited?
No, I didn't put that one on there. I actually am more of a Bill Murray Scrooged fan.
Ooh.
Of if you want a Christmas Carol themed movies. But
Where does Groundhog, like, if Groundhog's Day listen
not
to
a
this.
Christmas movie. It's
Not a
right in
Christ-
the title.
right.
Right in the
Not-
title. It's Groundhog's Day.
Right, not a Christmas
Right.
movie. But hear me out, gentlemen.
Yes.
If it had been Christmas, take away it doesn't have to be Groundhog's Day. There's nothing about Groundhog's Day that says you're stuck in an
Right.
endless cycle of repeating. If it
Sure.
had been he had gone to see a Christmas tree lighting in whatever town, same story,
Right.
but it's Christmas, it would be a top 5 Christmas movie for me, changing nothing but the fact that it would be on Christmas Day instead of Groundhog's Day. Because that is also a story about a man who is a selfish jerk who discovers the true meaning of fill in the blank of Groundhog's Day.
Basically, it would be Scrooged.
Yeah, it's Scrooge. Yeah, exactly. Bill
They
Murray,
actually
what
made
are you
that
doing?
movie
Yeah,
with Bill Murray.
just like you said.
So, yeah.
I'll have
I
to check
don't
it
know.
out. I have not seen Scrooged. Maybe I'll add that to the list. All right, very good. Well, listeners, viewers, we did a bonus episode right before this, and we talked about some favorite traditions, and you should definitely check that out. You can support the show in Apple Podcasts or patreon.com/movies on the side. If you want to hear more of Jason and me, well, you can listen to Primary Technology. That's our show over there. Or if you're listening to this in Primary Technology, you can listen to me and Nate over on Movies on the Side. We've been doing it for, it's going to be like 8 years, Nate. Did you realize that?
Yeah.
This April, I think.
It's been a while.
That's crazy. Anyway, we have like hundreds of episodes over there. Some of them vary in quality, but the bonus episodes are on point every time.
This is true. I can vouch for that. I've only been on 2 now, but they're very good.
Yes, Jason's a loyal fan. But so anyway, you can, well, I already said support the show there. Anyway, give both shows a 5-star rating in Apple Podcasts. Do all the things. And as we always say,
I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? I mean, in what way? I'm speaking in rhyme.
that was the second best impression I think you've ever done on the show. That's good.
I'm hitting on all cylinders today.